Hello, and welcome to Stop Let's Team Up episode 70. We're going to be doing something different than what I said this weekend. Yesterday, Kirby and me had a great conversation about Secret 6 Volume 2 miniseries. And I was listening to it, getting it ready to edit. And I think I need more time than I have today to edit. So I decided that I was going to just do a single issue about an obscure team. This team popped in my head and a specific issue, so I looked it up on the Marvel app and read it. And I posted just couple hours ago. What did people think? I've got some people just kind of liked it or retweeted it. Some people commented, and I'll read some comments if there are some good ones in there, funny ones. But we're going to talk about the Rangers and their first appearance in The Incredible Hulk. And I remember this comic very, very well from when I was a kid and it came out because there was a new super team in it, and that's what I liked and that's what I wanted to see. And it's Hulk 265. So we're going to go to the pertinent data from the Marvel Wiki, and then I'm going to give you my 2 cents or maybe 3 cents on this comic. All right, this wonderful comic was released on August 11th, 1981. Whew, I was a junior in high school. Cover date, November 1981. Bill Mantlo, Sal Buscema writers. Oh, yeah, they're co-plotting. This is during the Mantlo-Buscema era, and they were co-plotting. I forgot that. Sal Buscema pencils, Sal Buscema inks. Always better when he does it all himself. Colorist Bob Sharing, letterist Dinah Albers and Gene Seamack, editor Al Milgrom. And this issue is titled You Get What You Need. Main characters Hulk, supporting cast Rick Jones, Betty Ross, the Team Brigade, Bill Specs Mantle, Ben Wheels Cassidy, Sally Ryder, and Candy Barr. Oh God, those are so... I don't know that much. I've not read a lot. I've read the early Hulk, but it's been so long that I don't even remember the Team Brigade. And this is the introduction of the Rangers. Roll call: Firebirds, Benita Juarez. This is her first appearance. Knight Rider, Hamilton Slade. Shooting Star, Victoria Star, first appearance. Texas Twister, Drew Daniels. And Red Wolf, William Talltrees. And they're battling the Corruptor. So a very basic recap of the story is Rick Jones is the captive of the Corruptor. The Corruptor has the power, if he gets you emotionally worked up, he can enslave you, and he's done that with the Hulk. He's holding the Team Brigade and Betty Ross hostage, and he wants Rick to radio the Avengers. Finally, using the Hulk to threaten Rick does it, and the radio signal goes out. The only problem is it doesn't reach its intended recipients, the Avengers. It is heard by these other superheroes from the Southwest, and they come to the rescue. Sound familiar? Yes, because it's basically the same origin of the Avengers, except in Loki's diverted. This time it's just something happens to keep it from getting to them, and the team is formed. Yeah, and the message, when it goes out, it gets stopped by a mountain. And first we see Red Wolf chasing down some... these bad guys are being chased by a police officer from the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Jeremiah Windracer and the Southwest superhero Red Wolf and his wolf companion stop him, and then borrows the Jeep because he hears this thing. And Red Wolf appeared in one Avengers issue as a guest star. Bill Mantlo in the editor notes is saying that he was an Avenger. He was not an Avenger. Not an Avenger. This is a thing where it's one of those things. I don't consider him an Avenger. But he did guest in a Roy Thomas, Buscema, Tom Palmer one, and it's a fun comic. Then we go to Benita Juarez, and she's a social worker. And she's checking on one of the kids. And she goes outside and turns into Flamebird and flies off. Texas Twister and is working in a rodeo. He hears it, and his partner shooting star who has a gun. Texas Twister first appeared in an FF, drawn by George Perez. It's a good comic, and he appeared before, and he was, a misunderstood hero. He wasn't really a villain. But he now has a partner, Shooting Star, who is a young lady who wears a red, white, and blue costume like his, kinda, and shoots guns that shoot stars. And she can fly. So she has some superpowers. I'm going to go into their little origins a little later. They hear it, and they're working at this rodeo and getting paid, nothing, peanuts for their work, and they just want to go out and try to be superheroes, I guess. Then we cut to Winston Slade, who's out in the West. He is the great-grandson of the original Knight Rider or Ghost Rider, the white, the cowboy star that rides a white horse, and both of them dressed in all white. And the costume appears, and he gets on it, and he can fly. I never read these. I didn't read a lot of Marvel Western comics. This would be something more about my brother's thing. And then there's on page 5 of this comic. Is it page 5? Page 9 is a great single page, and I'm going to save it and put it up where it introduces them. They're not a team yet, but it's the 5 of them in 5 panels going around a gold star like a Ranger's badge with their names and logos and the logo of the team. And then we cut back to the Corruptor and the Hulk. Corruptor's making Hulk more and more angry. He throws Rick across the room when the event, because Avengers hasn't come, and the Corruptor sends the Hulk to bust through a wall and harm the Team Brigade, and that's when Knight Rider shows up, and he has his magic horse, kick Hulk out through the wall out of the building, and they're hiding out in underneath an old church. And that's when all the other heroes arrive, and the battle ensues. Red Wolf takes a shot at Hulk. Twister does too. But it's a pretty good battle. It takes 4 pages. Everybody gets a little action piece. Shooting Star's kind of cool. The heroes start to team up to kind of do what they can. But this is the Hulk's book, so eventually he wins, and they're all laying unconscious or near unconscious. And that's when Rick and the Corruptor come out, and Rick talks the Hulk down. And it's a great panel on 19. On the bottom, there are 5 panels, rectangular panels. And you're seeing it as if you were looking at Rick, and you're seeing the shadow of the Hulk getting smaller and smaller for the first 3 panels. And then you see it from like a 1/4 of the shoulder of Rick, and that the Hulk is now Banner again, so the spell is corrupted, and Banner's not happy. He picks up Red Wolf's spear, and it's going to smack the Corruptor in the head. But Red Wolf's wolf gets in between and subdues the Corruptor, and then he's taken off. He's hog-tied and taken off by the good guys. And then the final panel on 20 is the team forming. It's just like the last, it's just the same thing. It's the 5 heroes talking. First you get the Pale Rider going, "We whose evil drew this Knight Rider to this place of existence is subdued." And then Red Wolf goes, "Together we thwarted the Corruptor's plan until Rick Jones could reason with the Hulk." And then Firebird goes, "But that was all our powers were able to do." Shooting Star goes, "Against the Hulk, I'd say that was good enough." And then Texas Twister goes, "Dang right, Star, we fought a good fight. Not for fame, not for fortune, and I wouldn't mind riding with you fools again. What do you say, Rangers?" The response to the Rangers, Texas Twister's query is subject for future tales. And then we cut back to just the end of this Hulk story, and this is going to go into High Evolutionary story. First, I gotta say, I think the Mantlo Buscema Hulk is my sweet spot. It's the only kind I really read it. I was just watching Omar talk on Near Mint Condition about, they're finally going to do, when someone asked, when are they going to do some Mantlo's Buscema Hulk? And he's like, you would think it would come soon. It'd be 2 volumes. I'd get them. I mean, you got 5 volumes of Peter David, and I get it. And you got the other ones. But yeah, I think you need to do it. It's kind of something like that. Why hasn't it been omnibus? They just announced the first Grunwald cap. So this is, I equate Bill Mantlo Buscema with Grunwald's cap. They're kind of that's my runs on certain books. But I really enjoyed this story on certain level. Is it dated a bit? Yeah. Firebird is, as someone said, one of the comments said, was several shades of stereotypes. I think so is Red Wolf. I think so are the Texas Twister. He's just, he's a good old boy. They're all kind of stereotypes in some way or another, and not for good or bad. I like Firebird very much in Englehart's West Coast Avengers. I think showing a person of faith in a world of aliens and super soldiers and aliens, because, that's part of American culture is faith. It, every culture has its form of faith in some sort or another. And to have a hero that is still going to be a member of Superintendent, but their moral compass comes from a different source. And I like her. I liked kind of when he hinted out, could it have been better? Yes. Could it be, are there still too many stereotypes to her? Yes. I'm not a person of faith, but I don't like it when you cartoon up anybody, any group, or dumb it down. Sometimes it just ends up insulting, or just, it won't hold up. It doesn't carry on. So I don't think this is one of the great comics of all time. I don't think it really translates as well as it did from 81 to now. For 30 minutes of my life reading this comic book, yeah, it's a entertaining Marvel comic book. Entertaining, not knock your socks off. Do I have a nostalgic affection for it? Oh, hell yeah. Because I remember reading this and going, oh, another super team, they should get their own book. And then would do, I think I even made some cutout fit, I made up some line. I was one of those kids that made lists and who would be a good member and stuff. Before the internet, I just did it for my own shits and giggles. And I like this team. And they do reappear again, especially in the Initiative, which is something I've thought about covering it, or Secret Invasion, because I want to reread them as events in the order they should have been read in, because they are both two events that lost me, because they went on too long. Nothing really moves for the middle half, because of the way Bendis structures the big events. And I think it's what Hickman tries to do, but I think he does a little better. I think I understand. There's not as much in the middle of a Hickman grand arc that is unnecessary and not as entertaining. I have a personal issue with the way Bendis story tells in those big events. And I think there are too many extra chapters. You could have tightened it up. But the Initiative, I remember they appeared a bit, and they've got a couple extra members. Armadillo, this telepathic alien called 51, that's all I remember. And Living Lightning, who I loved as a West Coast Avenger. And I think you could have made Texas Twister or Red Wolf if you, Firebird was a member of the West Coast team. I think they'd have made good additions. I also think you need to have teams. I was having this conversation with Kirby yesterday. You got to have teams in other cities. There should be a Western team with Western-based heroes. It's very, I think Kurt Busiek created one. He has one for in Astro City that, the different areas have their regional heroes, and I think you really need them. I do want to say that the full title of this story, if I remember it correctly, is a lyric from a song. So let me read you the lyric, and then I'm going to tell you about the song. And then I'm going to talk about the 5 members of the Rangers in a little more depth. Okay? So let's get that title. Let me pull up the first page of this comic again. You can't always get what you want, but if you try sometime, you just might find you get what you need. So it's a Stone song, and it's a great Stone song. You can't always get what you want, but I like it. The whole lyric is in the title, but then the wiki just says you get what you need, But I think the real title of this is you can't always get what you want, but if you try, sometimes you get what you need. And I think that was great. Didn't want to forget about mentioning that. But let's go through these heroes. So first, Firebird. Let me pull up her pertinent data. This is her first appearance. Benito Juarez was walking across the American desert near Albuquerque, New Mexico, when a huge ball of cold fire plummeted out of the sky and struck the sand 10 feet from where she stood. Bathed in its extraterrestrial radiation, Juarez soon discovered that she acquired vast amounts of energy-wielding powers. Believing the fireball to be a manifestation of the American Indian legend, the Firebird, Juarez fashioned herself a costume and decided to use her powers to help people of the Southwest United States under the name Firebird. She was an Ranger. She was short time. She was a West Coast Avenger, and she'd pop in and out of the Avengers. I like that. During the Secret Avenger invasion, Firestorm was with the Rangers when the 3D Man and Ant-Man were fighting a Skrull, who was posing as Lobo's Red Wolf. She one of the many applicants to be Luke Jane, Jessica Jones' daughter, Danielle's babysitter. So she's not appeared a lot, but I kind of like. She did have the name La Espirita, which I think was a good name when they were kind of leaning into religion. But she pops up from time to time, and she's considered a full Avenger. And I agree, she is an Avenger. Well, Red Wolf is not. So next is Knight Rider, Hamilton Slade. I called him Winston Slade. That would be Deathstroke in the Titans, who is not a character I really care for. So get a little information. Englehart pulls on this character in his West Coast Avengers too. So Hamilton Slade was an archaeologist associated with the University of Nevada at Las Vegas. He became interested in his ancestor Lincoln and Carter Slade, his great-great-grandfather and great-great-uncle, respectively, after finding out that they were their exploits in the Wild West as the Ghost Rider, Knight Rider, or Phantom Rider, because he had different names in different series. Discovering the veromount of Lincoln Slade, where he had been laid to rest by Indians of the tribe that had first befriended Carter Slade, Hamilton also finds the costume of the Ghost/Knight/Phantom Rider. Lincoln's spirit possesses Hamilton's body, transforming him into the spirit of his horse. They're tied to Ghost Rider, so it's kind of he was the Ghost Rider, vengeance, whatever he is, the instrument of vengeance on Earth. And that gets all tied in. I don't know when they tied that in. Did they tie it in the Bronze Age? Did they tie it in the Modern Age? Because I've not read enough Ghost Rider to tell you, or enough of that. But he also, Knight Rider is one, when the West Coast Avenger is sent back in time, and I don't want to spoil it too much, he's a big part of that. A story point in that involving Mockingbird, which I'm going to cover that arc at some point, so I'm going to save it for that conversation, because I just think it really deserves to be talked about, that story, but I don't want to spoil it now. Just to know that the character's an old Western character, got some mystical powers. And this, I kind of, these are all very D-listers, low listers, but I think with, good, it's one of those books that could have, the team that if with the right people, you could make it work. If you took out some of the stereotype and really just thought about it. So next up is Shooting Star. Victoria Starr's father, Remington Starr, is a wealthy Texas oil baron who indulged in amateur radio performance. He encouraged her goal of becoming a professional sharpshooter at the rodeo. He used his wealth to provide her with special six-shooters that fired paralysis pellets in the form of stars. During her career, she met Texas Twister and they two devised an act. Father's team of scientists designed jet boots which allow her to maintain stability while in one of Twister's cyclones. The duo become a great act and develop a romantic relationship. And on top of this adventure, there's something with a demon possessing her, and the demon kind of wants people to say that, hey, she never existed. And then Twister makes a deal with the devil, all the while studying the supernatural, and with the help of the West Coast Avengers, traps the demon in a statue, and Twister and Star go off on their merry way together, happily in love. Then the Initiative, And then the Secret Invasion, where Star figures out that Red Wolf's Wolf Lobo is a Skrull, which I kind of giggled at. But that's it for her. I mean, she's only appeared like 4 times. And that's okay. You know, they don't always work. Texas Twister. I just like his design. It's cheesy as hell. Created by Roy Thomas, Mike Friedrich, and George Perez. First appeared in Fantastic Four numbers 177 in 1976. Drew Daniels born in Amarillo, Texas. He was working at a cattle ranch when a tornado and radiation formed oh my goodness. My God, radioactive tornado. He got his power from a radioactive tornado. I forgot it. He was working at a cattle ranch when a tornado and radiation from a nearby nuclear reactor affected him at the same time. The net effect was giving the power to generate tornadoes at will. And calling himself the Texas Twister, he answered an ad in the newspaper by the Wizard to fill a vacancy in the Frightful Four. He soon discovered he would not be paid to join. Twister declined membership and instead accepted an offer as a super agent. I forgot about that. Okay, the super agents. S.H.I.E.L.D., 2 of the 4 super agent trainees, Bluestreak and Vamp, turned out to be traitors, and the program was disbanded. Twister used his powers to earn a living, joined Cody's Radio Extravaganza, where he met Shooting Star. And that's when they get tied together. And Steve Rogers revealed himself to be a Hydra sleeper agent and overthrew the United States to establish a Hydra Empire. Texas Twister joined the Underground and Secret Empire. Good for you. Good for you, Drew. Drew, let's get Drew on a team. Let's get him on a team. Let's let him be like Swordsman was in Inglet's Avengers. Just why is this cheesy villain in the team or cheesy second stringer and make him a great hero? I'm just saying it. He's not that great a character. But I'm like, I love those characters. I love them. I love them. All right, Red Wolf, the last one. This version of Red Wolf was created by Roy Thomas and John Buscema for its appearance in Avengers 80. Following the murder of his family by the henchmen of Taurus, William donned the mantle of Red Wolf and took his revenge. And when the Rat Pack, under the leadership of Super Skull, attacked the reservation of his tribe to steal a mystical artifact called the Soul Catcher, Red Wolf teamed up with Tigra to defeat the Super Skull and avenge his people. I didn't know that. That's a cool one. At the end of the Civil Wars, Tall Trees recruited to form the new formation of the Rangers, which is the one in the team. And then Secret War found out his poor Wolf Lobo was a Skrull, but he did discover alive and well was reunited, the real one. And then there is a different Red Wolf who appears in Occupy Avengers. I forgot about that, but that's a different guy. But this is a pretty good. He was pretty neat. I always liked Avengers 80. I thought he could be, if you're going to do a Western hero. The problem is doing an Afro-American hero, you cannot treat it. I don't think he is overtly. He wears Indian garb to fight people that are attacking his reservation, so I get it. So I think it could be better. I think, is it a terrible stereotype? No, but it's still a stereotype. None of these characters are really fleshed out a lot. I think Firebird really is the only one that ever gets any true fleshing out. Maybe Twister a little bit, and Shooting Star in that one story. But you don't get to see more than that. But that's the eclectic team. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give the team a 3 or 4. I'm not normally grading. And the story is entertaining, and it is definitely a comic. Bill Mantlo wrote really simple, fun stories, and that's kind of what this is. It's not the greatest thing. And this team was like, Mantlo, was he trying out for another book? Hey, did the book sell? Did the lettercoms go, let's see more of those heroes? Maybe there is a Bill Mantlo, Sal Buscema book with their creations, the Rangers. But I guess there wasn't, so there wasn't. So, all right, folks, I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's just my opinion on a comic. Please check it out, read it. Let me know what you think. And next weekend, the Secret 6 episode will go. The previous episode 70, which will now be 71. This Tuesday is another special Opal City Confidential. It is me and Dave Steele talking about Starman's first adventure as a member of the Justice Society of America. All-Star Comics 8. And till then, be smart, be safe, be kind to each other, and read some comics.